The time was 7 o'clock in the evening and I had just stepped out of the gym after an hour of workout. I was walking toward the supermarket, which was about 10 blocks away from my location. On the way, I passed by a scene of a motor vehicle accident, which unfortunately, all victims seemed to have perished. A young person was being carried away on a stretcher inside a body bag. You could tell it was a child by looking at the size of the body. It was the first time I had ever been that close to a corpse, and while sad, it was really scary as well. I quickly walked past the scene, and at about half a block away, I saw a friend of mine wave at me from across the street. Hana was with her boyfriend, and she was just saying hi as they were headed to their destination. Just before we were about to lose sight of each other, Hana pointed to her back as in asking what was on my back. I shrugged since I really didn't understand what she was asking. She went her way and I did the same. After that, I did some grocery shopping at the supermarket and was home by 8:30 p.m. Then at about 9 p.m., Hana texted me with the message, "Who was that girl you were carrying on your back? You never told me about a niece." I replied, "I didn't give any girl a piggyback ride. What are you talking about?" Hana replied, "Remember earlier today? I was with my boyfriend and you were carrying that young girl on your back. You actually pointed at your back and just shrugged. We had some more back and forth after that, before I told her to just go to bed." Hana wasn't kidding. She was that serious about seeing me giving a young girl a piggyback ride. A chill ran down my spine as I began to realize what might have been on my back earlier in the day. As crazy as it might sound, I truly believe the young girl's spirit, the girl who perished in the accident, might have hitched a ride on my back. Then I started to wonder, what if she's still here? I got up right away and looked around the room. I was so scared that I was having a hard time breathing. I grabbed the jacket and my bag, then left the apartment right away. I slept at Hana's that night, then spent the next 7 days at my sister's, and after that, I've stayed with a coworker for a few days, and I'm currently at my parents', even though it takes 2 hours to get to my job from here. Hana didn't see that girl on my back any longer, but suffice it to say, I'm still terrified just thinking about that night. I don't know how I'm going back home and living alone again. I don't think I'll ever be comfortable being on my own, ever again. It was May of last year, and I had been trying to land a job for the last 3 months without success. With my part-time job alone, I wasn't making enough money to pay the rent in Seoul, and thus my parents had told me to come home for some time until I could line up more job interviews. A few days later, I was in Chuncheon, my hometown. There, I was reunited with some old friends who had opted to stay back home and seek opportunities here. I went to Seoul and got my college degree, but it seemed like most of my friends who stayed behind were doing much better than I was. After all, for a young man, there can be nothing worse than being unemployed. Chanu, my best friend from high school, came to see me a week after I came back home. He had inherited the family farm and turned it into something special. It was only 4 years ago that he began to learn the business seriously, but the farm was already 4 times the size of the original. Some of the old friends made fun of my situation, but Chanu was different. He tried to make me feel better, to give me hopes, and he encouraged me to continue trying. After about a week thereafter, on a Saturday night, Chanu and I had a few drinks between us, and we were walking home from the local pub. On the way, we came across a familiar sight, something that used to freak us out when we were younger. It was the old abandoned house that has been in that rundown state for as long as we can remember. As is the course with all of the abandoned homes, it comes with dozens of different backstories depending on whom you ask. The general sentiment in town is that it is haunted. With that in mind, Chano suggested that we should enter the abandoned house, and this reasoning was simple. He said, "Remember all the kids used to dare each other to enter that house? Well, have you seen one kid that did? No, right? In fact, that place still freaks me out a little. Listen man, we enter that house explore it, and conquer it. It'll be like blasting through an obstacle that we couldn't overcome in all of our lives. We get that done and there's nothing that we couldn't do. What do you say? It was ridiculous, but I knew why he would push me to do that. I was drunk, I felt brave, and thus I said yes. We entered the house, and the state in the inside was even more decrepit than the outside of the house. I must admit, being inside that house was quite scary. Every little noise we made turned us into jumpy wimps. We checked the rooms, the bathroom, and Chanu was taking some photos in the kitchen. I was ready to go out by then, and so I was standing in the living room close to the front door. That's when the phone rang inside the house. It was the landline that was connected to the old phone in the living room. I really don't understand what it was, but something compelled me to pick up that phone. When I did, a female voice on the other line said, "Thanks for coming to see me. It was getting lonesome being here alone. I hope this means I can go see you whenever I want. I'll see you soon." And then she hung up. Chanu was finished taking the photos in the kitchen and came over to the living room. I said to him, "I just spoke to a woman on that phone." "Oh, would you quit it? That's not gonna work on me." Chanu responded laughing. I asked, "Dude, didn't you hear the phone ring?" "What are you talking about? We were the only people making noises in here," Chanu responded. He then looked at me closely and said, "You're serious, aren't you?" We both ran as soon as I answered yes, and we were outside of the house, then on the streets in seconds. We stopped running after we put enough distance between us and the house. I asked Chanu about the phone ringing, and he swore to me that he didn't hear it. He said, "Just think about it, man. Would I have continued to take the photos in the kitchen if I heard the phone ring? Even if the phone rang, I don't know why you would answer the phone. If I were you, I would have ran my ass out of there as soon as I heard the ringing." And that concluded the night. I heard the phone ringing, but Chanu didn't. I spoke to a woman who now apparently wants to come see me. But how could I have spoken to anyone if there was no incoming call to begin with? I don't understand any of it, but what's important here is that no woman came to visit me at my place just yet. It's been roughly a year since the incident, and now I'm back in Seoul, employed, living in my own place, and still haven't been visited by a female spirit. Chanu and I joke about it over phone calls from time to time, but I'll be lying to you if I said that the experience no longer scares me. Here's me hoping that it was all in my head and that there are no ghosts that can make phone calls. Hey guys, Dennis here. I just wanted to tell you guys that yes, I do know the audio and the narration sucks for this video. I'm in a hotel in Cincinnati right now as I'm recording this. However, by the time I upload this video, I'll probably be in Boston in another hotel. I'm gonna be on the road for the next 2 weeks and I didn't want to keep you guys waiting for a new video in all that time. So I purchased a portable microphone to do the narrations in my hotel room. I do the rewrites and the translations on the plane and car rides. I hope you can understand that I'll make a lot more errors than I normally do when I'm on the road. If you are attentive, you'll also notice the poor audio quality. Well, not poor, but definitely not great. It's just not the same as doing it in my own house, where I have a small studio set up for recordings, and also I've got a big ass monitor where I can do the editing, rewrites, and everything else. The way I figure, it's better to have subpar new contents than no contents at all. If you disagree, then I'll stop working on the videos on the road, but if not, this is how things will be when I'm on the road. And now I'm going to go freshen up a little. I'm all sweaty and crusty. It's TLC time for me, and you guys should get some rest as well. Well, for the exception of you guys in Europe and Australia. I hope you have a great day. Well, goodbye for now, guys.